You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheinman. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is Judge Judy.
Why can't I hear anything?
Welcome to another episode of Judge, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we got a very exciting episode for you today. We have Mr. Ryan G, who's going to represent warm weather, and we got Mrs. Potato all the way from Germany, who says that cold is better. How this is going to work is you two are going to give me a quick hello. You're going to introduce yourself. You're going to tell me what you hope to achieve tonight, and then you guys are going to present factual evidence with your arguments. You will then have an opportunity to question one another. Then I can question you. And finally, the chat can send you questions as well. Without further ado, Mr. Warm Weather.
Tell me your name.
Tell me your name.
Ryan G.
Why are you here?
Because I'm going to present what I have on warm weather versus cold weather and why I feel warm weather is better for the human.
Potato.
Tell me your name.
Yep.
Tell me your name.
I literally just said my name is Potato.
Why are you here?
I'm here to be my own lawyer and represent cold weather because it's superior in every way possible.
Okay. Well,
I want you to speak slowly, speak clearly, so that I can understand you.
all right, Ryan, go ahead.
Warm weather. Better known during your spring and summer and fall months. Depending on location, to be honest. During warm weather, there are less illnesses because of heat. People tend to get sick less in the winter. Statistically and factually, people do not get sick as much in the warmer weather months than they do in the cold. Factually speaking, depression during cold weather seems to be in the highest rise. Vitamin-wise, the sun, which during cold weather is blocked by lots of clouds and snow, you don't really see very many sunny. I'm not saying you don't see sunny days in the cold weather, but it's very rare. Blocks the sun out, which gives our body vitamin D, which is for your normal vision, your immune system, and all that stuff combined. Vitamin D.
You can finish. I just want to check if you're done.
One at a time, please. Continue, Ryan.
All the better. Warm weather is factually better for health and mental illness. I'm basing that on facts that scientists have done, and I'm basing it on scientist studies and statistics. Statistics aren't 100% fact, but they help prove, in a sense, why warm weather is better.
Okay, Potato, what are your rebuttals here?
It may be true that warm weather helps your immune system, but let's see what I have. Yeah, the cold weather helps you build a better immune system. And for example, even though you don't see the sun as much, you can still get the vitamin D, just not as much. And this is a new point. It's easier to
Listen to me. I think that
warm
you
up
have
than
a
it is to
problem,
cool
and your
down.
problem is that you're either trying to play dumb or you are dumb.
Potato, one of the jury members,
I
one of the jury members thinks that you're playing dumb right now.
Yeah, I know it's super. I'm looking at the stream.
Okay. Are you being dumb right now, Potato?
I don't think I am.
Okay, you can continue.
Yeah, and according to my research, cold weather can strengthen your heart and give you a better sleep. Meaning that, and in Germany, we don't use fans or like any sort of ACs because don't ask me how, but it is a high chance that we get sick for whatever reason. So do you want to continue, Ryan, or?
Yeah, I will.
Okay, Ryan, back to
That would-
you.
I'm pulling up my notes. Another thing about hot weather versus cold weather, there's something called heat exhaustion, and then there's hypothermia for cold weather. With heat exhaustion, it can happen, but the dangers of cold weather, hypothermia, where your body can get too cold, your body can freeze, and if it doesn't kill you, it can cause frostbite, which can cause you to lose. If you get too much frostbite, which can lead to an amputation. I forgot to mention that in my open statements. And I'm using the whole health aspect of facts for not the fact that I like warm weather. That's irrelevant right now.
Do you like warm weather?
I'm defending it, so obviously I do.
I have a question for both sides. I'll start with Ryan first. What is the... Well, as soon as Potato hears the question, she'll know what... But what is the warmest and coldest temperatures you have been in? Ryan, we'll start with you.
About the warmest temperature I've been in is roughly, God, I want to say 100 degrees Fahrenheit, 40 C, and the coldest I've ever been is -60, -54 C.
Wow. Okay. And which of those were worse to you?
-60, -54, because they had to shut down the state, they had to shut down schools. People were freezing to death. The heaters couldn't keep up.
Potato, what is the warmest and coldest temperatures you've been in?
Warmest, probably something around 40, 41 degrees Celsius, and coldest, -28. But then I was just in a t-shirt.
A t-shirt?
Yeah.
Are you crazy?
No, I'm Icelandic.
That doesn't mean anything. I'm Canadian. I wouldn't wear a fucking t-shirt and under +10.
I'm not even phased by that, MB.
You're not.
I got a little smart ass sleeping in the next room that can walk around in shorts and a t-shirt in -40. So
Do they do that just to flex? Like little Pee-Pee's son flexes by peeing in bottles?
I honestly don't know. I mean, it's not good for your health. It's not good for anybody's health to do something like that.
Blueberry says you can get a 3rd-degree burn from just being out in the sun. You can get frostbite just from being out in the cold as well, though. Wise Wizard has a question for Ryan. Were you in Antarctica? Because otherwise, I don't believe you were in -60 Celsius.
I said 54, and Google. The coldest ever in Minnesota was in Minnesota. That was with wind chill. Did you want without wind chill?
That's up to Wiz. Wizard, does that answer your question, or do you want further evidence?
Because the state low temperature in Minnesota was because I remember that from my teenage years, but I fact checked myself, even though I remembered it. I wanted to make sure I wasn't remembering.
If you have the fact up, what date was that? Do you know that?
The state record low temperature in Minnesota was recorded at Tower, Minnesota. I was there on February 2nd, 1996. The low was negative 60 degrees, and I believe that's negative 54, but Celsius. But
Wow.
I don't think we need that argument. By the time when it gets that cold, Celsius and Fahrenheit, just say we're good.
Exactly. Yes, we already have the Celsius and Fahrenheit argument tonight.
But it's gonna,
once it gets that cold, it's just basically it's fucking cold.
But we're gonna have that because we're talking about warm weather and cold weather. I'm gonna try to just use both Fahrenheit and Celsius to make it easier for everyone.
Hardyway has a question for both sides. Is it easier to cool down in warm weather or warm up in cold weather? Potato, would you like to start this off?
I would say that it's easier to warm up because, for example, if you would want to cool yourself down, you would either need an AC fan or something cold on your skin, for example, ice cubes or just popsicles. But if you're cold, you can just buy some, for example, somewhere in my room, I have a large hoodie that is basically like a blanket. With that, I'm pretty much warmed up in under a minute. And it's also a one-time purchase, meaning that in cold weather, if you just stick to one room, you can pretty much keep yourself warm, but in a cheaper expense than in warm weather.
Okay.
That's it.
Ryan, would you like to answer the question?
For me, it's easier to cool down. I love to go swimming and take showers, and I have a harder time warming up when I come in from. I'm just gonna say, if I come in from cold weather like 5 degrees, negative 15°C, it takes me forever to warm up. I have to bundle up in 6 blankets, and I'm just still freezing. Whereas if it's 32 degrees, your 90s, I jump into a pool where it's lukewarm water, and our pools are lukewarm water, and I cool down instantly. I'm more content with that heat. It's easier for me to cool down than it is to warm up. But that's based on human body and not different human bodies and not fact. So I can't really that's like Potato said, she can go and wrap herself up and warm up faster doing that, whereas I can't. So that's basically a human choice and not fact. So I can't base any argument on that.
Okay, we have a couple comments and questions here from chat. Whitefire says, I work outside all day and 90% of the year, and my job, and I can say it's easier to cool down than it is to warm up. Oh, great. We have a dog here. I've been trying to get rid of this dog for the whole night, and now we have a dog here.
The dog will sway the jury.
I got a witness. We got a witness here. We got a witness. What side are you representing, dog? What side are you representing? Do you like warm weather or cool weather? And now the dog is going to bug the fuck out of me. OB, your question is off the screen now.
I'm not going to go into animal physiology.
Sorry, I need to move back
I just won't.
Question for Ryan from OB. What if you're at work, you can't take a shower or swim when you're working?
Depends. That's a job thing. That's a personal preference thing based on opinion, not fact. If you're outside and it's freezing cold, your body you can get frostbite with just a little wind at 5 degrees minus 15°C, and if you get enough frostbite, you could lose a limb. There's no reported case of losing body parts from being too warm.
I would like to get a word in. There may not be like a report about losing a body part due to heat, but technically, you can get sunburn, and that is like just dead skin, pretty much just a layer of cancer that is falling off of you, or that is loosening yourself from you to prevent you from like dying.
We have
Skin regenerates.
we have a lot of chat saying that you dodged the question here.
What question? I didn't dodge a question, I don't feel.
But I think it was the question about it was the question about the you can't take a shower or swim when you're working. Was that the?
Yeah, but I can't base that on fact because that's where you work is a personal choice. And if I try to do that, then I'm going to get hit with, oh, that's the opinion again.
I mean, at the end of the day, aren't any of these arguments just about opinion? I mean,
well,
who here can actually back up that one of these is better than the other? It's at the end of the day, it's virtually about your own opinion, right? But
because when you wear too much clothes, you're blocking the sun from getting to your skin.
We got an objection from Insomniac. The question wasn't why hot is better than cold. We've got an objection. Insomniac, would you like to add anything here? Hello? How are you? When you're working, do you have AC on a hot day if you work inside?
See, that's another thing I couldn't argue because there's people that work outside in construction. I mean, does it really, if you work inside, does it, and you have AC, you're not getting too hot.
Does anybody here work outside in the winter time?
I would be biased because I worked on a farm.
Okay. Drew says yes. Drew, would you like to be called to witness? Because I know you're representing for Hot Drew. I don't know if you want to come into VC. If you have personal stories that you would like to share. You want to come in? Okay, we're going to call Drew down to the witness for Warm. Potato, at any point, if you have somebody in chat that you would like to pull in to help argue with you, you can do so if you need help. You can ask chat, just to let you know. We're going to pull Drew in to hear what he has to say as a witness for Ryan.
I'm gonna argue. I'm gonna answer Hardyway's question. Yes, moving your body does keep you warmer. That is a fact.
Oh, hey guys.
But I haven't got to do any of my other arguments toward it, so I need time. I'll wait.
Okay.
And my rebuttal toward potatoes bundling up.
All right, guys, we got Drew. We got live on the scene. We got Drew here to tell us a little bit about to help Ryan out here.
So I am a registered certified lawn technician. Year round, till from February to December, we lay down fertilizer and weed control in all kinds of weather. Rain, sun, 110 degrees outside Fahrenheit. I've actually pushed fertilizer on a lawn in 10 degrees, and there was snow on the ground. And everything I've experienced, now mind you, this is personal experience, but this is everything I've experienced in my job over 5 years, is it's actually way easier to stay warmer in the wintertime than it is to cool down in the summer because of the way things work. Depending on your job, like us, you may be forced to wear long sleeves and gloves, full boots, long pants, because of the chemicals we use. Um, in the wintertime, it's much easier to put on an extra layer than it is to take off layers to cool down. So summer is definitely the worst thing. Plus, in winter, you start to shiver. When you're cold, you know it. When you're hot, all you do is sweat. That's it. So until you start getting dizzy and almost to the point of passing out in the middle of a lawn, which, yes, that's happened to me multiple times, you don't know that you're running low on hydration, salts, and electrolyte. It is much harder to tell the onset of heat stroke if you're not medically trained than it is to realize, hey, I'm getting cold, because your body will tell you if you're getting cold. Your body doesn't do a whole lot to tell you have heat stroke until you've passed out on a lawn.
Okay, can I just interject here for a second? Drew, didn't you say that you like warm weather better?
I was going to say objection.
Yes, it is weird. So I hate the cold. I absolutely hate the cold. I get cold extremely easy. Hot weather does not bother me, but that's because over the 5 years of working at this job, I've built up basically not exactly an immunity to the heat, but it doesn't bother me as much. But I still, I like the warm weather. It doesn't bother me anymore. But you put me in cold, like when I went up to visit Amber in December. Your weather sucks, man. MB, your weather absolutely sucks in the wintertime. Let me put it that way.
I mean, yes, it is absolute garbage. And that's Vancouver weather. I would never go back to Vancouver again in my life. It's a different type of weather. I don't know if you've experienced. I don't know if you've experienced an actual Canadian winter outside of just Vancouver, but Vancouver's dreary. It's damp. It's wet. It's depressing. It gets to your bones. No matter how many layers you put on, it's you just cannot escape the cold in Vancouver. That's
so
just.
I have. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I have experienced real Canadian weather. So this is a little bit of story. When I drove up and crossed at the Windsor border to pick up my spouse, who was then just my fiance at the time, I crossed Windsor, and she was hanging out with some friends in Montreal for like a geek gamer trip. So I drove to Montreal. I experienced a Montreal winter, and then we drove all the way back across every province to get to BC. So I literally experienced every single province during winter.
But yet you're advocating for warm weather.
Yes.
Okay, the chat just seems very confused right now. The chat is very confused.
Never been a witness before.
The chat feels like you should be arguing for cold, but okay. Yeah. OB says, so in other words, cold weather is objectively better, but his opinion is what makes hot better. That's his whole argument. Yeah. Duber says he definitely explained why cold weather is better, but says he doesn't like cold weather and prefers the summer. Insomniac says, come to Saskatchewan, it can get minus 46C. Exactly. Okay.
You can keep that, Insomniac. You can keep that up there.
I've dealt with colder than that. I'll pass.
Yeah, pass. Hard pass.
Okay.
Hard pass.
Okay. Potato, do you have any rebuttals to this, or would you like to call anybody to the stage?
I would like to pull out some of my facts, please, because sorry, dude, I was confused. It sounded like you were advocating for cold weather.
I think everybody was confused there.
No, even I was confused. I just know that he pretty much made my job easier.
Goose President says, I prefer cold weather because I don't have to deal with any ants or insects. Good point. Okay. Potato, what would you like to say?
So I would like to go back to hypothermia and heat strokes and all that stuff. So last year in Italy, it was over 45 degrees Celsius, around 113 Fahrenheit. And despite there being multiple places where you could get free cold water, there were over 61,000 victims. And one guy on the news explained how he tried to do everything at night because of the heat, so he wouldn't be one of the victims that would die. And also Antarctica or Arctica, I have no idea which is which, has a birth rate of 100% because all 11 babies that were born in the cold have survived. Yeah, Ryan, you can just continue.
11 babies, huh?
Okay,
Yeah.
Ryan, she's passing it back to you.
I'm going to use the argument of actual overall health. The sun. In cold weather, like your winter weather, where the clouds are up and it blocks the sun, your body's not getting the vitamin A. You tend to stay in more often unless you're at work. And if you have an inside job, I guess there too, you're getting denied the vitamin A. And vitamin A helps with vision, your immune system, reproduction, and growth development. Also helps your heart, lungs, and other organs work properly. Depression.
We are looping a bit, Wizard. I need to remain neutral, but I do have a question for people in warmer climates. Have you been outside waiting for a bus or walking through like 6 feet of snow for more than like 2 seconds or like 2 minutes? Because, like I said, I'm trying to remain neutral here. But for people that have been in warmer climates, have you experienced like 6 feet of snow, -20, -40? Blue, you have? Okay. Blue has?
I haven't experienced 6, but we have gotten 4 down here when I was up at college near Chicago, and I had to walk to college, which
I'm just
was
gonna close my notes.
6 to 7 blocks away from my apartment through 4 feet of snow to get to school.
Cold weather can reduce inflammation and pain, says Insomniac. Blue, do you have anything that you'd like to say in chat to help Potato? Oh shit, no way. I've literally been working on Court Show for the last month. Hey, that's crazy. Welcome in. Okay. I can make people cry if I come to VC. What do you mean? How are you going to make people cry?
Yeah.
I give up on trying to talk, so...
Honestly, Blue, just do it.
6 feet of snow would kill me. I'm only 5'11" and my whole body would be covered. Okay, Ryan, do you have something that you want to say? Go ahead, Ryan.
I was just talking about health facts about warm weather versus cold weather. Most people get the sickest from October to March, your winter months. Well, the depression rate goes up higher. These are all proven facts. Basically,
He's right.
Okay.
Okay, we got Blue coming down to the podium to add a few things to say.
All right. So I have a few things I can add to hot weather. Yeah, people are inside, depressed in the cold, but in the heat, some people haven't. It was only briefly mentioned, but the heat has it increases the birth rates of different bugs and stuff. We're talking malaria, ticks, things like that. And I haven't even gone to, like, again, being out in the sun for just 10 minutes can increase your rates for different skin cancers. Are we not gonna? I mean, sure, you can talk about hypothermia, but we're talking like people stepping outside and getting boils on their skin just having their feet on the pavement. Have you been in heat that high? Because I certainly have.
I have too.
Your shoes melt into the ground. That is terrifying, man.
I've had summers get up to 100. God, I want to say I know we've had 105 degree temperature, and I actually liked that because that was a fun day for swimming, but I'm not going to go into that because that would go into opinion, and I'm avoiding opinion. I'm going based on that. You can argue skin cancer and you can argue sunburns.
And malaria and ticks and
A lot of
who
the
knows what other things are brought out with the coming of the sun and the heat.
Ryan, didn't you have a story to tell the other night that you said you were going to save for the hot weather argument?
Oh, my story's gonna kill his.
COVID has been proven to not be able to. People have still gotten it in the summer, but the cases dropped in the summer. I avoided it for 4 years. Winter, I fucking get. I don't want to even go into that part, but
Same thing with me. Avoided it for so many years, and then one winter is when it got me. Never in the summer.
I got COVID during the summer, and we were having a heat wave, and I went to the hospital and nearly died. So I don't know, man.
Like I said, Cole, but Blueberry, remember what I said? I said most. I did say some people got it in the summer.
He did say most. I caught that.
Okay.
Duber says, I got COVID twice, both in the winter, December, and January. Oh no, not the COVID talk.
I didn't want to go there, but the only I'm not saying I almost worded that wrong. I'm gonna stop myself on
How
that
is
part.
COVID relevant? Why don't we just replace the word COVID with just like cold and flus, right?
I'll say viruses in general.
Order in the court. If the word COVID is triggering you, let's just replace it with the word cold or flu or sickness or something like that.
I'm going to say viruses in general.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that covers a lot more too.
And I have a rebuttal for that. Viruses aren't caused by the winter. It does not weaken your immune system. They are caused by the spread of, guess what? Virus.
And your
so
immune.
Being in the winter, I mean, it's more common for them to be to show up during the winter. However, that's only because people are stuffed inside.
Yes, which is why the winter is actually one of the reasons winter is actually worse than summer, because in the winter you're all stuck inside. You're more likely to get sick because you're stuck inside around more people. In the summertime, you're out and about. You're naturally distant from people unless you're hanging out with your small groups. That's why you're less likely to get sick
for that too. Going back to my vitamin A argument with the sun and warm weather and the sun giving you your vitamin D. Vitamin D boosts immunity, and you don't get that from supplement. You can get it, but not as good as actual from the source, the sun itself.
And being outside is not good for you. We're talking having to wear SPF 30 over SPF 35 just to function and be outside. I mean, what?
And people tend to function well. Most people, I'm not going to say all. I want to say most, because function better warm where they can move around and you're not weighed down by the 10 layers of I'm gonna 5 layers, because when I have to go out, and a lot of people I know, that anybody who's had a Minnesota, Canadian, anywhere in the freaking north area knows you have to at least thermal shirt, thermal underwear, pants, snow pants, stocking cap, ski mask, whatever it takes to stay warm, because it is hard as hell to stay warm. For me, it's easier to stay warm, cool down than it is to warm up. I've already said that part in the opinion part of this.
Well, I'm going to have to strongly disagree that it's much harder to cool down from the heat than it is to warm. And I'm not talking about just being out. I mean, I'm talking about it's costly. You must have an AC on, otherwise you can easily succumb to heat.
I don't have an air conditioner. I don't have central air.
Have you lived in 130-degree weather?
I've lived in Arizona.
May I get a word in?
Yes, let's hear from Potato. We haven't heard Potato in a while here.
Yeah, so as I said, like, you may have popsicles and AC and stuff to cool yourself down, but then those are like those are not one-time purchases. Like for example, a blanket. If you buy a good one, it may be a little bit more expensive than like any other one, but then the quality may last you way longer. Therefore, you could pretty much save more money just by spending a couple bucks more.
Okay, we're gonna go with the clothing issue. All right. I'll let
Okay,
you finish, Potato.
Wizard here says in chat, NOAA's account of what it calls weather-related deaths suggested that during the 30-year period from 1988 to 2017, the average of 134 heat-related deaths occurred annually, while 30 per year were cold-related. Huh.
And this is separate from other factors that we'll not name, like malaria, which is, you know.
I have a counter against Wizard's counter there. I'm looking at the CDC website, which is a medical website. This is more relevant in its time frame, January 11th, 2019. While they admit that the hot weather is harder on our bodies, cold weather is the bigger killer of people.
Butterfly has a question for both sides.
Well, Lancet study says that more than 90% of temperature-related deaths were from cold.
She says, is it cheaper to run heating or cooling devices?
Cooling.
No.
In my opinion, it would depend on how you do it.
It is much more expensive than to run cooling, to run cooling than it is heating.
Yeah, I mean, it would depend on how you heat up, because, as I said, you can just like plop yourself under a blanket and then you may be good to go. But then you can also like get I don't know what the word is in English, but the in German Heizung, which is basically just the room's heater built in. You can have that running, and that would be more expensive than just hiding yourself under the blanket.
Evidence for the court. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is the National Public Health Survey of the United States. Any information provided by the CDC is strictly based on one country and not the world. So,
Catrill says hot weather seems like the thing that's going to mostly kill off the species. Mel says it's easier to turn up than cool down. Is there any scientific evidence that proves it is easier to cool down than warm up? Asks Muppet Man.
I mean, your body, as Ryan's witness said, like your body shivers when it's too cold, and with the shivering, there's movement, meaning that your blood flows a little bit faster through your body, meaning it warms you up. If you're too hot, all your body do is just sweat, and that pretty much just means that all it's doing is losing bodily fluids that it needs to prevent you from dying.
You take
or
any
from
prescribed
getting
medication, sir?
Yeah, or being overheating.
Those are natural body defenses. When you're too cold, you shiver to try to create friction and cool down. When you get too warm, you sweat, and that's your body's way of trying to cool it down, because when your body sweats, it produces water. When water evaporates, it takes heat with it.
In high humid temperatures, sweat is completely ineffective, says Wise Wizard. Hardyway says your body contains natural heat, so warm weather makes your temperature rise to an uncomfortable level. However, cold weather will balance it out.
Nice.
Do we have any other questions? This case is very good. This is Insomniac.
This was a good
This one's getting heated. So on an entertainment level, the best one so far is the Rusty versus OB. But on a factual level, this one is probably one of the better ones here.
Because I'm still going to advocate for heat for warm weather. Yeah, you have your
You'll never
bugs.
convince
Nobody
me.
likes bugs. Nobody likes bugs. you like
You'll
getting bitten by a
never
mosquito?
convince me heat will be good. Never. And I have the best story, well, the saddest story, that will convince anyone otherwise.
What's your story, Blue? Let's hear your story.
All right. So let's rewind the clock a few years ago. Blueberry was the primary caretaker to his mother, right? California was experiencing the worst heat in all of on record, right? We're talking really high. We're talking about just sitting there and you're sweating your ass off. So Blueberry decides he had helped his mother go to sleep, right? Lay on her bed, and he turned the AC on. And then Blueberry went and took a nap for himself because, again, he was the primary caretaker. At some point during this heat, there was a blackout. The AC had turned off, and Blueberry had slept for way longer than he really needed to because he was exhausted.
Why are we referring to Blueberry in third person?
Okay, I'll go back. So, when I finally woke up, I heard a very pitiful sound, and I came down, and I rushed down actually because it was fucking hot, and I see, my mom had sweat so much it went into her eyes, she couldn't open it, and she was like starting to hyperventilate. Well, a few hours later, I watched her just pass away. And that is why heat will always be the worst, because dying from heat exhaustion is the most horrible, painful way to go. And I watched my mom go through it, and it was awful. So, yeah, fuck heat.
All right.
Okay, Ryan, do you
I'm
have
sorry, but
anything?
that-
Do you have anything to say to that?
I'm
And
sorry
like
to
I
hear
said,
that.
you'll never
but
convince me otherwise. So,
I'm sorry to hear that, Blue, but that's based on an opinion and an experience. So I'm not trying to downplay it. I hope you're not taking it that way. Please answer my question. You're not taking it that way, right? I don't want you to feel like I'm downplaying it.
At the end of the day, this is all for fun, guys. We're not trying to poke fun at each other or attack.
I've lost both my parents, so I know that losing both your parents.
yes.
So I'm not downplaying in any way. I just want to make sure you know this.
Yeah, regardless of what happened to someone's personal experience, it's like we're just here for fun, and it's.
Oh, another thing. So this is something you learn in science, but the more humane way to euthanize something is to put it in freezer because they don't suffer painfully. So that's another thing to compare to my painful mother story to, oh yeah, let's peacefully let something go by making it cold.
I don't know how, after my auto accident, when I hit that patch of ice and rolled my van, and the EMTs and the police weren't able to get there for 20 minutes in 22, it was about 20, it was 15 below. I'm not even going to try to do the negative Celsius part. It was 15 below zero with 7. I'm sorry. I would be scared to death of freezing to death because that's what I thought was going to happen because I had no heater in the vehicle was freezing. But I digress. With all the medical problems, your viruses, the lack of vitamin A to boost your immune system and sight, and help your other bodily organs function properly, we need the warm weather. Now the argument is warm weather versus cold weather. We should be throwing out the extreme. We should be throwing out insanely hot weather and insanely cold weather, because I think we can all agree that nobody likes it if it's too damn cold. If it's minus 40, nobody likes it at minus 40, and nobody likes it at 40.
At the end of the day, yeah, the extremes suck, right? It's like, what would you rather be in? I wouldn't rather be in either, right? Both of them suck.
The argument
Agreed.
is warm weather versus cold weather. Not, we've been kind of going.
It's not mediocre weather versus fucking slightly mediocre weather. It's
yeah.
Chat, we're gonna wrap this up because we're gonna sit here go around in circles forever for this. Chat, do you have anything else you would like to ask them?
Yeah.
I was answering.
Would you rather burn to death or freeze to death? I would honestly rather freeze to death.
I'd rather burn.
Because
Yeah,
I don't
okay,
want my
yeah.
eyeballs to literally melt.
So I'm an
yeah.
advocate for warm, and I think I would rather freeze to death, honestly, because I think what Blue said is it would be less painful to go out dying cold than it would be, because you wouldn't feel it. You'd be numb. You wouldn't feel like when you're burning to death. I literally feel like you would feel that, like, and it would be really painful.
Comes from the guy saying, "Man."
Yeah, exactly.
I'd rather, like I said, when I die, I want to be cremated, but that's mostly because I want to have a smoking hot body one last time.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist the joke.
Okay, that is it. We are closing this case, ladies and gentlemen. Ow, I just thumbed my hammer. I just hammered my thumb. What am I saying? I just thumbed my hammer. That doesn't even fucking make sense. I just hammered my thumb like a chump. Okay, we're gonna close this argument, ladies and gentlemen. I don't have a commercial, unfortunately. I have one for the Sophie versus Blue tier list, but I didn't think too far ahead for a commercial.
Oh, wait. Before we close it, I wanted to answer. A person asked if it cost me more to heat up the house or cool it down during the winter. It cost me, I'm going to go based off my old apartment. When I was living in the apartment during the winter months, my electric bill, since I had electric heat, was $150 a month to keep my small ass apartment warm. In the summer, my electric bill dropped to like $30 a month. I don't want that to be added in there. I just wanted to answer their question.
In order to keep the AC on during my summer, and I live in a small apartment, was over $200.
Let's get a word from our sponsor. Hey, kids! No questions! No questions, you child! We don't ask questions. The only questions we ask here is why the fuck is your name not up on this board, Potato? Because if you want a chance to be Turok, ladies and gentlemen, oh boy, Moose Knuckles has been Turok since March 11th. He's about to break a record. He's about to be Turok for the longest motherfucker on this channel, guys. For a low price of 25 bits, you can be Turok. You can have your name up here, and you can be Turok as well. Everybody wants to be Turok. You want to be Turok. Do you want to be Turok?
No.
Oh, no. How can you not want to be Turok? Everyone's dying to be Turok right now.
That is my question, Blueberry. My name is not Cole. It's Potato.
I don't know who paid for all these other sponsors inside the commercial, guys, but we got a bunch of people inside. We got a bunch of guests in my commercial for some reason. I don't know where they came from. But back to the show.
I was gonna change my name. Alright, no.
Dun, dun, dun,
I
dun.
put out all the facts, so I'm going to chalk it up to that.
The verdict has been in, ladies and gentlemen. Dun, 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 dun. I present to you Cold wins. Congratulations to Blueberry Chan and Potato. Ryan G, your punishment is you need to go roll around in the snow if you still have snow outside in your t-shirt and shorts.
Oh god, I'm not jealous right now.
Nope. Not gonna do it.
And you are going to be sentenced in Twitch jail for the rest of your life.
I call mistrial because I was I was interrupted and not allowed to put out all the facts.
Take this man away. He's not doing his community service. Put him in jail. This is the first time that someone is getting thrown in jail. You guys gotta leave because you guys are done. Come on, guys, get out of my courtroom. Get out of my courtroom.